So if you would, please summarize for us how you see the origins, politics, and lives matter.
I think that's a great question. A need to intervene. And, we knew this was going to have consequences far greater than that current moment. We wanted to call a new Black liberation movement that centered those most at the margin.
Black lives matter! Black lives matter! Black and brown unity! Black and brown unity! Black and brown unity! Black and brown unity! Black lives matter! Black lives matter!
We believe that we are in a state of emergency. And that state of emergency looks like a crisis in the Black community at some of the highest levels, being murdered by the state, incarcerated at some of the highest rates, being unemployed at some of the highest rates, our inability to live a life of dignity. And so Black Lives Matter was a call for all Black lives.
The formation of it is for a reason, because people and the founders of it understand that Black people are not getting the dignity or the rights that they deserve, even now. And it's been 200 years since slavery, and it's modern day.
We need so much attention brought to it because a lot of people are just throwing it under the rug or dusting it under the rug. And I come from an inner city community, so I can't say that I understand their struggle, but I see it in my friends, and I see how much it does affect them in their daily lives. And I see them post stories about their own personal experiences with law enforcement and all that, and the system. So it's nice to hear about it and kind of live in it in a way.
I think the circumstance that it was under for it being formed it's sad, and it's the fact that history is repeating itself, and it seems like we're kind of in this constant loop.
Most people look at it as some type of hate group, or it's racist because Black Lives Matter, but all lives matter too. But I think it was formed initially to move forward, to hopefully do something about the racial inequality, the injustice, and I think people are forgetting about that. Even some Black people, they don't want to be a part of this.
Not only is it a political statement, but I think it's an affirmation to Black people that they do matter in this world. They are a whole person, they are human, and they should be seen as such.
Got his hand in his waistband. And he's a black male. Okay. How old would you say he was? He's got a button on his shirt. Late teens. Late teens, okay. Something's wrong with him. Yeah. He's coming to check me out. He's got something in his hands. I don't know what his deal is. Okay, just let me know if he does anything, okay? Yeah, we got him on the way. Just let me know if this guy does anything else. Okay. These assholes, they always get away. Shit, he's running. He's running? Which way is he running? Down towards the entrance of the neighborhood. Okay. Which entrance is that he's heading towards? The back entrance. Are you following him? Yeah. Okay, we don't need you to do that.
I looked at the news and there was no audio, but I could see the text up on the screen, and from that point on, I went on my phone, and sure enough, my whole Facebook news feed was just full of articles and what.
Because I heard about it, it was on the news or it was on the radio, something happened, and I wasn't really around anyone who looked like me, who understood, how I felt. And so I remember when that happened, I just kind of felt lonely, and I didn't know who to talk to or what to say, and it was just kind of this thing that happened that everyone was ignoring, but it was right in front of our faces. So.
I think I was in class, and the only thing we knew is that he was wearing a black hoodie, and that George Zimmerman shot him.
Circuit Court of the 18th Judicial Circuit in and for Seminole County, Florida. State of Florida versus George Zimmerman. Verdict: we the jury find George Zimmerman not guilty. So say we all four-person.
I thought that it was wrong that he was he was tried and let go for what he did. I think there was substantial evidence against him, and I really didn't think that he should have been let go. I think he should have been convicted for killing Trayvon Martin.
Very upsetting, but it wasn't something that shocked me because it's happened time and time again where a white guy or a guy who's white passing kills a person of color and then, there's no repercussions. Just look at Rodney King.
I wanted answers. I mean, if you would think the people who are supposed to make the rules and make the laws and make sure everything's gonna be right and fair, you would think they would do it right, And so when you see the most powerful people in the world say, no, that's wrong. Zimmerman's okay, that kid deserved it, then, you don't really feel safe in this country anymore.
I think that the circumstances of the situation are so skewed for the outcome of what happened. If it was a different race or a different person, I believe that the verdict would have been different. I believe that Zimmerman would have been convicted.
It's just inevitable. Those verdicts, it kind of makes you lose hope that any change will come about it or come from it. Honestly, it's just, I saw it coming.
Are police under attack? Are protesters' voices being heard? Joining me now is Rob Weinhold, crisis and public safety expert and a former Baltimore police officer. Rashad Turner is a lead organizer for Black Lives Matter in St. Paul, Minnesota. And CNN law enforcement analyst Cedric Alexander. Good evening, gentlemen. I appreciate you joining me this evening. So,
good evening.
Let's chat.
Good evening,
let's talk here. Cedric, you first. How do police do their jobs in this climate?
It's a tough climate right now, Don, for police officers. And it's almost at a point now where many officers across this country are finding it very difficult to do their jobs. Not difficult because they don't want to do them, they want to do them. But every time that officers go out here, make an attempt to do their job, want to do it well, there's this appearance, there's clearly this feeling, and I think we all experience it as well too, and we all see it whether we want to acknowledge it or not. They're under scrutiny, just scrutinized to a point where it does make them hesitant, it does make them wonder if they're going to be able to get through a shift, and that hesitation I'm really concerned about.
Our fellow citizenry that feels as if because of the color of their skin, they are not being treated the same. And that hurts. And that should trouble all of us. This is not just a black issue. It's not just a Hispanic issue. This is an American issue that we should all care about. All fair-minded people should be concerned.
Brutality against black people, President Obama, I think, hardly has anything to do with it. I think that now we're in an age where it's filmed a lot more, and I think that President Obama became president when the idea of filming all of this, on our smartphones, cameras, or whatever, I think that's when it was popularized, and I think it just so happened that President Obama was elected president when it became popular.
So I don't think President Obama is at fault or to blame for anything that's happened. No matter who's in office, whoever is president, the world is going to blame that person in office because they're responsible for what's going on, but they didn't cause it. The president doesn't create things. His job is to learn how to deal with it. So no, I don't blame President Obama.
A lot of people expect, since he's black, that he can control what happens to black people or like he was supposed to do something for black people to make sure this never happens to them. Or
I think what people forget is that, like, police brutality has been happening. Police brutality has been happening for a while. It's just now we have cameras and now we can record it. And so everyone wants to blame Obama, but I don't know. I just can't. I can't see a definite reason why, he's in office, this is why this is happening. It's just that there's more cameras, and I don't know, I don't even know what to say about that. It's so ignorant of someone to say, blame Obama, it's the thanks Obama. I think that's the phrase people use, but I couldn't do that, no.
We should be blaming not President Barack Obama, but we should look at who we're hiring, and do they have the skills needed to be hired for enforcing the law? And I feel like there's a lack of training in the police department. There's a lack of looking into who we're hiring, like where have they worked prior to this? Like what can they bring to the table? What changes can they make? Because clearly it's all not working right now.
We're going to keep telling our children stories, and we're urging you to say their names. We're going to keep building a future where police officers and communities of color work together in mutual respect to keep children like Jordan safe. The majority of police officers are good people doing a good job.
I am an unwilling participant in this movement. I would not have signed up for this or any other mother that's standing here with me today. But I am here today for my son, Trayvon Martin, who is in heaven. And also for his brother, Javaris Fulton, who is still here on earth. I did not want this spotlight, but I will do everything I can to focus some of this light on the pain of a path out of the darkness.
I think that we've kind of just been where we've been for a while. I think that now, because we live in such an age of social media and, we can know not just what's going on in LA, but what's going on in New York, Florida, and Wyoming all at the same time, I think we can really see the way things are, and I don't think that things are different. I think that we can see across the country we're in a state where it's a mess, and I don't think that it just became a mess.
History is so repeating itself because, with slavery being over 200 years ago, of course, that's not implemented today in society, but conceptually, there are similar things of that kind that are happening as far as being prejudiced and being racist and treating people like that, right? And so, again, it's looping. So things are, we progress a tiny bit, and then I think we kind of fall back a little bit more.
So right now, I think we're pretty stagnant. I think we're moving towards the right direction, but I don't think we're moving anywhere yet. And I think the only way we'll move forward from this is if we start seeing police officers being trialed the right way versus, the blue code of conduct, like if that's even a thing, which we all know is.
This is a responsibility for the U.S. Justice Department to get involved. Whenever anybody in this country is killed while in police custody, this should automatically trigger a U.S. Attorney General's investigation. Second of all, and I speak as a mayor who worked very closely and well with police officers, the vast majority of whom are honest, hardworking people trying to do a difficult job. But let us be clear. if a police officer breaks the law, like any public official, that officer must be held accountable. And thirdly, we have got to demilitarize our police departments so they don't look like occupying armies. We got to move toward community policing. And fourthly, we have got to make our police departments look like the communities they serve in their diversity.
I think that with whoever the president is going to be, I don't think that the president is going to have too much of a say in what happens with the movement. I don't think that it's up to the president to promote the movement or to discourage the movement. I think that where the movement goes, post-election is really up to us. I think it's up to Black.
Trump, who knows, right? It might just... Wow, I don't even know how to answer this. I guess we'll just see. We'll have to wait and see, but maybe. I mean, it's going to be talked about more and more, so they're going to have to do something about it.
Probably neutral, depending on who the president is. So, for example, if it was Clinton, I think she would say something about it, but I don't think she would necessarily put anything into law or anything that would kind of benefit the movement. I think the reason why she's saying something about it is because she wants to get more voters and stuff. I think because she has no emotional attachment to the Black Lives Movement, she doesn't feel I think she won't feel the need to do something about it. For Trump, from what his views are on race, I think he might definitely hurt it.
And the only people apparently that think it's an issue are those who are part of the Black Lives Matter movement. But even if there are people who aren't vocalizing it, they need to admit that there is a problem. I need to admit that there's a problem. Everyone here needs to admit that there's a problem.
Stop looking at where they come from. Because I noticed right now with what a lot of people are doing is well, they put themselves in that situation.
It sounds selfish, but it's not to worry about yourself. To help people in need, of course, but to not bash people, to not hate people for what they look like, what they do, what religion, the color of their skin. I think the only way to move forward and to unite as a society is to go every day as who you are, as an individual, find a goal, pick something you want to do, and just go for it. We spend so much time worrying about everyone else's goals. What are you doing? What are they doing? Oh, you're not doing that right. Let me tell you that you're not. I think really focus on the individual as yourself.
They kind of have their mindset. I think a lot of people are just sort of set in their ways about the way they see things. I think that it's important for those of us who are accepting and for those of us who do want to support one another that we teach the youth and that we teach young people who are still very impressionable, about injustices inflicted upon other races.
I think dialogue is the best thing to do to kind of start up, moving us forward and bringing us together. Because if we don't talk about it, then no one's going to know about it, and people are going to have their own notions and idea on a certain topic or a certain movement or a certain group.
I feel like all I could do is kind of talk and sit here, and so trying to when I hear how do you want to end it, to me I'm just I don't know, because I feel like we're right at the beginning. I feel like we're right where we started, and so it's just it's hard to think about the end because we're right here stuck in the middle in the present, and all I can do is just the best I can. So yeah.
It's a matter of dealing with these injustices. Attempting to find a solution is part of it. But all of these problems that really affect our society as a whole they start in the home and they start as children. And we are a product of people around us. We're a product of what people do to us and say to us. So we have to start implementing better practices and approaches and skills and education as kids are younger in the home, so that as they grow up, they implement those in their lives with their morals, values, and ethics.
Your life matters.
Your life matters.
Your life matters.
Your life matters.
Your life matters.